I just flew to Nashville for something really, really big, and that was becoming a certified StoryBrand coach. This trip was really profound for so many reasons, and I can't wait to share it with you. And please do stick around because I'm going to show you exactly how my experience in Nashville is going to benefit you and your business right now. Let's get into it. So flying to Nashville was a bit unnerving actually for me. It was my first time traveling alone since having either of my kids, so that's been about a decade. And if you are a parent like myself and you're used to being in the hustle and bustle of having your kids around 24/7, not having them around feels really odd. And so I decided to actually complete this certification 2 weeks before I was supposed to be flying out. So as you can imagine, that required a lot of moving pieces around and finding help to make sure that I could actually make it out. Now, let me backtrack a little bit to a year before this trip. So this was in February of 2025 when I completed my certification. In February of 2024, I was actually flying out to Las Vegas for a different event. It was an event being put on by my publisher, who's publishing my book and also published an anthology that I'm a part of, and they were doing a live event. On the trip to Vegas, I was reading Donald Miller's first book, Building a Story Brand. There's now StoryBrand 2.0, but that first book really affected me and the way that I looked at business. Now, if you don't know much about my background, I am actually trained in creative writing. I have a creative writing bachelor's degree, and I also have one in classical studies. So Greek, Egyptian, Roman art, history, language, all those things. When I found his book on StoryBrand, what immediately struck me was he was taking a story framework that has been presented to us in every movie, every book, classically, forever, to tell the hero's journey, which if you're familiar with Joseph Campbell as well, he talks about the hero's journey. He talks about this common thread line in all major stories that make us as the audience captivated and interested in learning more and engaging in the story. So what Donald Miller effectively did is he took this formula and he wrote it in a way that brands like yours, mine, and everyone else's could actually succeed in telling the story of what they do and how they do it to their customer in such a way that their customers will actually listen and then buy from them, hopefully, if it's a good fit. And when I read that book, it engaged the part of me that is also a writer and that really loves the frameworks around storytelling and that really believes that storytelling is the number one thing that we as humans really respond to. I was immediately captivated by that, and I said, this absolutely makes sense. I also started to pay attention in that year between reading that book to finally completing a certification on how many brands were not doing this right, including my own, as I was taking brand advice from, people who had built websites, people who had called themselves brand experts, this and that, but they were continuously positioning my brand as what I now know is the hero of the story instead of the guide of the story, which is actually how we as business owners have to position ourselves in order to really serve our people, our person who is actually the hero of this entire story. And the more I paid attention to the brands that were getting this right and the brands that were not getting this right, the more I realized there was validity to this framework and that I wanted to understand how to use it more intimately. Now, I am a business coach. I work with soul-led entrepreneurs, mostly coaches, healers, and wellness practitioners who want to grow their brand and grow their income while also expanding their impact. I leverage aligned business strategies. That's the whole crux of everything that I do. And part of that is also building aligned messaging strategies that fit into the vision for your brand. So my intention with going to Nashville to complete the certification was to bring in a structured framework around something that I already knew worked into the work that I was already doing with my clients. Now, prior to even bringing in this framework, my clients were already seeing 3 times their ROI on things like enrollment numbers, income, all these kinds of things. But I knew that if I had this in my back pocket, that was only going to increase. So that was really the driving effort, the driving force behind going to Nashville and actually completing this certification. It was really fascinating to be in a space surrounded by other people who were so different than myself. I fully expected to step into a room full of like marketing consultants, and I am not a marketer and I'm not a marketing consultant. And what I found was a really diverse group of people, a lot of whom were business owners like myself, who just wanted to understand how to communicate what they did and how they did it more effectively. If you are noticing that your marketing campaigns are falling flat, then no matter what you do or how much money you put into ads or this or the other thing, it's just not translating the way that you wish it would, then it's time to actually pay attention to your messaging and how you are communicating what it is that you do. More likely than not, you don't need a more beautiful website or better branding photos. What you actually need is to learn how to communicate what you do and how you do it a lot more clearly. And that's exactly what this entire certification was about. Now, because I had already read the book and I already been in Donald Miller's world and I had completed another training on business that he had offered, I really knew this framework well already, but it was really profound to learn how to coach other people through it and how to kind of spot the most common pitfalls that business owners are likely to fall into as they're working out their brand story and working out how to finesse their marketing campaigns. One thing that happens a lot with business owners is that because we are so close to the business, we have a really hard time seeing it objectively. And because we understand what we do so well, we don't see how someone who has no idea who we are coming into our world could completely miss the awesomeness that we are. So part of my job with all of the different backgrounds that I have, I am also a human design business and career consultant, which really is a system designed to help you find your unique genius and to leverage it in everything that you do. That paired with this StoryBrand certification, what it's really allowing me to do is to help you find your unique voice, not just your unique genius and how to leverage it, but also how to talk about that unique genius in a way that positions you as the savvy guide that every hero needs in order to have their problems solved. And the brilliant thing about understanding this and working with this is that it allows you to look at everything that you do completely differently. It literally changes the way that you write social media content. It changes the way you write emails. It changes the way you organize your website, the way that you build landing pages and funnels. This idea of creating a story behind your brand is not just about a framework that you plug in order to discover who your client is and how you help them. It's the literal basis on which you create everything else. And it also helps you stay very focused on your brand. It helps you stay very focused on what you do best and how you came here to serve your client. And it'll avoid you from having shiny object syndrome and chasing this and chasing that and finding the latest hot trend on the internet and then quickly jumping in that direction and forgetting about why you started any of this to begin with. What this means for you, now that this certification has been done, is I get to support you in building your brand story in a way that communicates your genius and how you help other people clearly and powerfully. If you are noticing that there are gaps in your messaging, that your posts are not really getting the connection that you wish they would, that your emails are not really being read or engaged with the way you wish they would, your brand is not getting the recognition that you know it deserves, your impact is actually being threatened by not having the visibility and the response that you know you need, then I am inviting you to book your story branding session with me. I have a brand new offer called the Brand Success Intensive. We will spend 90 minutes together and I will help you write this story of your brand so that you can finally have the confidence and the clarity to talk about what you do in a way that feels really good and that will inform everything else that you build after that. It will give you the template, the roadmap, the compass, so that you no longer have to guess about what to say or how to say it or what you can expect. So if you'd like to learn more, you can go ahead and sign up for your own brand success intensive below. And if you have any questions or comments, please let me know. Overall, my experience in Nashville was really profound. It just verified for me everything I already loved about this storytelling framework and how powerful this idea of story is in our human minds. It was also really, really nice to connect with other people in person. I feel like after 2020, a lot of us just got used to learning online and we kind of lost touch with what it was like to be in a room with other people and connect with them and learn in person. And so that was also really wonderful and really illuminating. And if you have any questions at all, even about what it's like to be a StoryBrand coach or how that process was, you can also leave them in the comments and I will get back to you. So this is a recap of my time in Nashville and becoming a StoryBrand coach and how I can now support you with your messaging and your brand story. So looking forward to it. Thanks for being here. And as always, if you have not subscribed, please do ring the bell so that you get notified. And if you have something particular that you'd like me to talk about or make a video on, also please let us know. Thanks so much. Until next time.